Well, diplomatic efforts to halt the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza have intensified. Talks mediated by the US, Egypt and Qatar got underway in Cairo on Saturday, following a two-day meeting in Doha last week. The Hamas group has said that while it is sending delegates to Cairo, it will not take part in the discussions. A senior Hamas official said that the delegation will only meet with senior Egyptian officials for updates on the negotiations. Hamas insists that Israel withdraws all its forces from Gaza, including from the border area with Egypt, known as the Philadelphia Corridor. Now, the US, Egypt and Qatar have for months trying to broker an end to the war in Gaza between Hamas and Israel. Well, the White House says that they have made progress at the latest round this week. However, the possible permanent presence of Israeli troops along the Gaza-Egypt border has emerged as a major sticking point. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has, however, insisted on keeping troops along the corridor. Netanyahu has asserted that Israel needs to prevent Hamas from rebuilding its strength by smuggling in arms from Egypt. Meanwhile, family members of Israeli hostages held in Gaza continue to await the return of their loved ones. They gathered in Tel Aviv on Saturday and addressed US President Joe Biden in a call for help.
We'd like to address President Biden directly and say, Netanyahu has been systematically torpedoing this deal. You cannot believe a word he says. He will keep lying and deceiving you. He will tell you one thing, then do the opposite, all for his own personal, political and criminal motives. He will toss a spark of hope your way, then continue with his delays and sabotage, just as he always does.
Even as ceasefire talks resumed, fighting raged in Gaza on Saturday. Civil defense rescue sources reported ongoing Israeli artillery fire and airstrikes across the Hamas-run territory. Well, in Gaza City's Zaytoun neighborhood, gunfire and explosions echoed as Palestinian militants clashed with Israeli soldiers. An overnight strike on a house west of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza killed 11 people, including a woman and 4 children. Gaza's health authorities have reported a devastating toll from the past 24 hours, with 69 lives lost and 212 people injured due to the ongoing Israeli operations. Right. And for more on this, we have our correspondent Jody Cohen joining us live. Hi, Jody. Now, can you get us up to speed of what exactly is the on-ground situation in Israel? The Ben Gurion airport and flights are stalled till 10 a.m. And now it is being extended. Bring us up to speed.
Hi, Risha. Yes, so in the latest, we've just heard reports that Hezbollah has said that they've actually finished their attack for today. They denied that the success of Israel preemptively striking Hezbollah, and this is also being taken potentially to suggest that there may be further strikes tomorrow. So despite this announcement, Israel has not yet lifted the restrictions on civilians. So the Home Front Command, which is the part of the army that advises civilians during times of war, have advised people from Tel Aviv all the way north to the very north of Israel on the border with Syria and Lebanon to stay close to a bomb shelter and to limit gatherings to no more than 30 people. So up until about 10 minutes ago, I would say the streets were very quiet here. And we're starting to see more cars on the road, more people walking. Local businesses are open and local municipality workers are working in this vicinity. But I should say there is a major public bomb shelter just about 50 metres from where I'm standing. I've been in touch with Rambam Hospital in Haifa this morning. They're the hospital that I visited last week. And remember, they have the world's largest underground bunker hospital. They have said that they haven't yet moved their operations down into the underground hospital, but they're obviously remaining on high alert. And we know that communities in Israel towards the centre, such as Netanya, which is a community that hasn't really seen any problems through in this war, they've opened their public bomb shelters now, suggesting that Israel is on high alert from Tel Aviv all the way through to the north. So that's the vast majority of the population of Israel has been affected by the strikes today.
Right, Jody, stay with us. News just coming in. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah is expected to address today about the airstrikes after Hezbollah said that the airstrikes on Israel was a success in the first phase is over the time period. Right now, what we are getting is 8:30 to 9 p.m. local time. Jody, I also want to ask you about the statement of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after he convened the cabinet meeting. He said, and I'm quoting here, that those who hurt us, we will hurt them back. How do you assess that statement coming after Israel's foreign minister said that Israel is not seeking for a wider escalation of the war?
Right, so Israel said it's not interested in a war and that it's acting in self-defense. And Prime Minister Netanyahu said that they would do everything to restore security in northern Israel. Now, Israel, remember, have said that after 10 months of war, Hezbollah has fired around 7,500 rockets and 190 drones towards Israel. That number, of course, will have jumped significantly after today. They said that Hezbollah has killed more than 40 people, including an Indian national, and that more than 60,000 people have had to be evacuated from their homes in northern Israel. Now, Yair Lapid, the head of the opposition, has given his full backing to the IDF operation. Benny Gantz, also a significant figure in Israel's opposition now, has said that the government has full, broad and absolute backing. And interestingly, Gideon Saar, who's the chairman of the New Hope Party, suggested this morning that he believes Israel is not doing enough to deter Hezbollah from firing rockets into Israel. So we have, of course, seen almost daily rockets fired by Hezbollah since the 8th of October into Israel, the day after Hamas's 7th of October attack.
Right, Jody, Israel and Hezbollah have been trading fire on a daily basis since last year. There are also reports that Hezbollah launched around 1,000 rockets and was intercepted majorly by Israel. What are you gathering on that?
So earlier today, Israel said that Hezbollah had planned a major attack on central Israel. They didn't specify where in central Israel, but of course, according to the Home Front Command, we know that from Tel Aviv and north, everybody has been told to stay near a bomb shelter. So it suggests potentially an attack was planned for Tel Aviv, which is the economic capital of Israel. The IDF said that it thwarted the strikes by Hezbollah, although we know that 210 were fired. Hezbollah are saying 310. And the IDF was also saying that Hezbollah fired 20 drones into northern Israel. The IDF have said that they have targeted thousands of Hezbollah rocket launchers in response. We know that sirens have been going off repeatedly this morning in northern Israel, and the pro-Hezbollah Al Mayadin News has said that they believe the attack was successful and exactly as intended. And as you said, Nasrallah is expected to address Lebanon later, and this is pretty much what he's expected to say.
Right, Jody, just to let our viewers again know, the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah is expected to address regarding the intense airstrikes between Israel and Hezbollah at around 8:30 and 9 p.m. IST. Jody, let's also talk about the claims and the counterclaims that are going on between Israel and Hezbollah regarding who launched the attack first. There are also claims that have begun with Israel saying that it hit the Hezbollah targets first, and all these claims are being refuted by Hezbollah.
So at around 4:45 this morning, we're being told that Hezbollah had set up its rocket launchers for a strike, a major strike aimed at Tel Aviv, aimed at central Israel, I should say, for 5 o'clock this morning, and that the IDF preempted that by striking the Hezbollah rocket launchers. We know that Hezbollah have fired hundreds of rockets into northern Israel. The IDF says that it's struck thousands of Hezbollah rocket launchers this morning. So varying statements coming from both. Hezbollah is saying that Israel's preemptive strike was not successful, that they carried out their attack against Israel successfully, that they paused for today, suggesting that there could be further attacks tomorrow. Israel saying that they carried out a preemptive strike successfully and that they've been targeting Hezbollah targets ever since.
Right, Jody, with Hezbollah, like you also mentioned, saying that their attack was a success, the first phase of attack by Hezbollah on Israel, which has been completed, further highlighting on how the complete military operation against Israel is not over yet. And now Netanyahu, in his statement that came out after the cabinet meeting, he says that Israel acted proactively to remove Hezbollah threat. Talk to us more about how, about the locations that Israel targeted. It did seem like it was very well calibrated because it only happened in southern Lebanon, with Israel perhaps being very careful in selecting its targets.
Right, so Israel's saying it doesn't want a wider war, and it seems to be preempting Hezbollah strikes or targeting rocket launchers, responding to rockets or drones or missiles fired by Hezbollah. Israel says that it targeted thousands of Hezbollah rocket launchers. We don't yet know. Hezbollah have said that they have finished their attack for today. It's uncertain if Israel will believe that. Quite honestly, Hezbollah is of course recognised as a terror organisation by several countries around the world, and the Home Front Command in Israel has not yet lifted its restrictions on the people from Tel Aviv all the way through to the north of Israel, restricting the number of people that can gather together and also advising people to stay near shelters. That advice is still in place for the time being as Israel awaits whether or not there'll be further attacks. But their commentators are suggesting that by Hezbollah's comments we could potentially see further strikes tomorrow, and we'll know more of course after Nasrallah's comments later.
Right, Jody, I was just coming to that with Hezbollah saying that it has completed its first phase of attacks. What is happening in Israel right now are the leadership in Israel, including Yoav Gallant and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, are they anticipating an attack from Iran or its proxies?
So it's unclear. I mean, Israel has indicated that it does not believe that Iran has put off its intention to strike Israel. There are commentators who are suggesting that the Iranian strike could perhaps come via Iran's proxy, which is of course Hezbollah, and we've of course seen a major attack this morning. It's interesting that Hezbollah are also saying that they've finished their talks for today, as we're hearing that Israel is sending its head of Mossad and the Shin Bet to Cairo for further talks on the Israel-Hamas potential deal. Now, of course, it doesn't seem close to a deal right now. We're hearing different accounts coming, and President Biden at 4 o'clock this morning local time in Israel reportedly gave a thumbs up when asked if a deal could be close. But then, of course, we've seen the strikes today, so it remains to be seen what will happen. We know that Hamas are not sending a delegation to those talks, although they do have some representatives in Cairo. Israel is sending a delegation, a senior delegation, to those talks. Hamas has not accepted the US-backed bridging proposal. Israel has accepted that proposal, and there are a number of sticking points, so it remains to be seen what happens with that, and also whether or not Hezbollah could potentially become involved in that deal. If it happens, we have to wait and see.
Right, Judy, Israel has been in a war with Hamas for a long time, and now Israel is facing multiple battles from the Houthis, Hamas to Hezbollah. It's a Sunday there, it's a Sunday today. Talk to us about how are people going on with their lives in Israel, and what kind of an advisory has been issued at this point of time?
So speaking for myself, I got woken up at 6 o'clock this morning to the news that Israel had declared a state of emergency for 48 hours. It was perhaps about half an hour after that we heard that the restrictions have been placed on civilians' movements, the people from Tel Aviv all the way through to the north of the country, which is the vast majority of Israelis, have been advised to stay near a bomb shelter. People can go to work, but have to only if their place of work has a shelter and if they can be close to a shelter on the way. I've seen municipal workers working here. I know right where I am there's a public bomb shelter that can fit 300 people. It's only 50 meters away, so local businesses are working here. There's a local cafe here as well. There's not very many people in that cafe. It's normally a very, very popular cafe. This is the main street in Renana. It's normally full of cars, and there have definitely been less cars. Just before I went on air, there were actually no cars. And then after about half an hour after it was being reported that Hezbollah was saying that they'd finished the fighting for today, we started to see more cars on the streets. So it looks like people are going about their daily routine, but they would have to stay near shelters and to limit the number of people that they're gathering with in order to be on the safe side in case there are further drones, missiles or rockets from Hezbollah.
Right, Jody, be safe. Thank you so much for joining us on the show with your insights from Israel.